Good morning, everyone. My name is Guillaume Prou. I'm the VP of Technology Assistance here at Beta Virtual Assistants. So here's my second take on this. Let me check if the sound is working properly this time. Uh, I think, okay, I think it's working now. All right, sorry about that. So I'm usually, so we're here for Saturday tax tips. So we're discussing different suggestion, different strategy to tips, advice, recommendation on why different things you can try in the crypto world or you might want to look at. So this morning I wanted to talk to you about diversification and why it might be good to have multiple exchanges and wallets. So, so in like traditional banking, I've seen most people, especially here in Canada and US, for example, they often have only one bank where they do most of their stuff. And I think one reason is they sometimes have some kind of insurance from the government. So if something happens with your certain amount of money where you have that in the bank, then they will like reimburse you if something happens to that bank. And as we've seen in recent weeks again, government is often there to help any issues with banks, which is not the case with other industries, of course, but that's a different topic. So, but the downside to that is what I've seen is a lot of people when they need their situation change or they need some loans or they buy a house, they often get stuck a bit with that bank because it's quite complicated to change bank after a few years because everything is there and all your is one basket. So you have maybe the ease of use and the safety, but I believe that most bank they make a lot of money out of people's money, and of course they know that you're kind of a bit stuck there. So anyway, so that will be one of the thing I will be talking about. So in the crypto world, of course, when we talk about diversification, often people think about more like asset allocation, where you have like you want maybe to improve your returns a bit and your safety of your funds. So you try to invest in different product or different stocks or different funds or different kinds of assets. So, but I feel I wanted to mention that there's different other reason I want to talk about this today is, of course, there's like the performance or the returns on your investment. There could be the ease of use because you might find that some um, crypto exchanges or wallet are easier to use. Of course, one of the main reasons I want to talk about this is for safety, protection to like future changes because the crypto world right now, of course, is evolving very quickly. So there's a lot of things that change over time. So and something that works now might not work so well for you next year. Speed of reaction too, because of course, of due to market fluctuation, you might need to react quickly sometime. So so I will go through those in more details. But what we know is like there's a few things that are available right now. Is that of course there's like the centralized exchange where those are the easiest one and maybe to get to start with. And of course you can usually have some way to transfer or onboard your fiat, which is like your local currency or something, into the crypto world, and then you're able to then invest that or trade that for other kind of coins or crypto products. And so that's sometimes I guess where you should start. And but then of course some main disadvantage is they as we have seen, they're holding your assets for you, and if something's happened then you might lose some or all of your assets. So that's still something that is useful and necessary. But of course, that's one thing you should. So you could have some stuff in centralized exchange, but possibly you don't want to leave everything there, and or only for a short time as just like a means of transferring from one place to another. Then there's the centralized exchange, which are basically where you can deal with stuff. They don't know your account. They're just a means of transferring or trading for you. For you, they just facilitate the trading, but the things are all are in your own wallet, which is directly connected to like the blockchain. So everything is on the public blockchain, and you're transferring money or trading directly on those places. But then again, there could be cases where you could get hacked, or different thing could happen where they could get access to your phone and do something without your consent. So there's a safety issue still possibly there. So they have this third thing where it's called cold wallet, where after you move that kind of out of the online world, you move that offline basically, and there you have a device that you may need to plug in a computer or something similar, where you're basically keeping that for the long term, and it's kind of more complicated to transfer to this device, or to transfer back in the real online world where you can trade again. So it would means that nobody can directly access that very quickly or easily, and so that might be safer. So that's one reason why you might want to diversify, because you might have stuff to transfer money in and out. You might need places to be able to trade or do some kind of transaction. You might need a place where you want to hold that for the longer term. And you might want to have a place where it's even safer and it's offline, and it's just you're holding that for, or hodling, like they say, for even longer period of time. And of course, all of these have like pros and cons. And so, I mean, if you have any question about that, of course, you can find information online, or we can help you with that. But the idea here is that you don't want to use only one method. Of course, you need to start somewhere, and you cannot have everything in the first week, let's say. But start with whatever is here, but keep looking for information, and get to know what are the different options, so that over time you can start to diversify, especially as your portfolio grows and you're investing more and more. Because obviously, when you start, probably start with a smaller amount, so that's okay. But as you're investing, so the other thing I wanted to mention is the reason why it's good to have different places. Even if you have a centralized exchange, you might need to have more than one. Even if you have a other device, you might like offline device, maybe you want one or two. If you have a decentralized exchange, you might need to want to use more than one as well. So, and as we deal with different customer, we always discover new exchange and new places that we've not seen before. And of course, there used to be a lot of them last year or whatever, and some have been closing, or different things happen. So of course, I think we will see some kind of reduction in the number of offering, but because some have been either going bankrupt, or they were not so good, or they just didn't go through the big downturn last year. But the reason you want different option also is, like I said, there's places where it makes it easier, for example, to onboard your fiat money. Either you want to deposit money, or let's say at some point you want to take out some of your crypto and transfer back to some dollars or something. Some places are good with that, and they make it easier for you to do that kind of stuff. But they might not be so great for trading or doing other things. You might also want to set up, like we've mentioned before, some kind of DCA, dollar cost averaging, or other kind of things where you have a not automated way to buy some crypto on a regular basis. Some call this auto invest or quick or sorry, or yeah, different names for it. And it used to be not many were you offering that before, but now many of them offer that. But again, this might be easier to do with some exchange and not others. The other thing is some have other products like some kind of savings program or staking program where you earn some interest, or you can put that on like a fixed period saving where you can earn more interest, but you have to leave your assets there for 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. So, but again, so this, not all places have all the same products. So some might be better for that. So you might have one that's easier to onboard your money, but then you might transfer some of it some other place where you can earn some interest or something. Then some might be better for trading, for example, and you want to, or they have better rates, or they have lower fees, or so then again, you might need to use another exchange where you do most of your trading. Some people, they also do advanced stuff like futures and derivative. And so then again, some exchange might be better doing that. Then other issues is that depends where you live. So in your country, sometimes some exchange, as we've seen, only allow customer from certain countries, either because they have advanced product that are not allowed anymore or in your country. So you might need to do, you might be limited to use some of the exchanges that are allowed or regulated or approved in your country. So that might limit your option. But again, that's another reason why you might need to look into more exchange, because what we've seen recently, some were functional let's say in your country, but then at some point either the government changed the rules or they ask for some kind of a regulation, and some exchange decide not to go and follow that. So then they stop servicing certain customer from certain countries. So that's another reason why if you have only one exchange and they tell you we're not servicing you anymore. So that's kind of unfortunate. Or sometimes they still service people, but they're not allowed to use any of the advanced product. Like people, like for example, now I've been losing the possibility in the US and even in Canada on some of those exchanges to do some kind of earnings product or the kind of savings product where you earn interest. And so they getting rid of this option only for previous customer. It might continue, or I don't know, they might even stop that. And sometimes they even tell you need, you're not gonna be. So what's the point of this exchange if that main feature was your to earn interest, and they disabled that option? So make sure you have different options. So that's my point, is that as you find out and play and experiment, because sometimes they all might look interesting from the outside, but as you use those different exchanges, you will discover what the features are, what the products are, and some might fit you better based on what you need. And so as you may start with one that somebody told you about or that you heard about, but then you might realize it's not so convenient for you or depending where you live. So as you open different accounts, you will find out maybe which ones are more useful to you. So eventually maybe some you will stop using. But the other reason is also some places have better reporting something, even for taxes. For example, we have some exchange, unfortunately, that are not very easy to play with because they don't connect to some of the tax reporting and software, and even their own report or the way they can provide you with your history of transaction is not so great. So that's another thing sometimes that people have issue with. So Another thing I forgot to mention is also if you're using some kind of rebalancing strategy, like we've discussed before, or bot automation, or even DCA bots or different things, some have better products for that. So that's why you need different diversification. But so my last point about that is, one reason what I've seen is, like last year, for example, when it started to go not so well in the crypto world, sometimes you might need to react quickly or make changes. So, like I said, if an exchange change the rules or the options available to you, if you have already some kind of exchange, you might decide to move some of your assets somewhere else. But especially if there's some kind of problem with that particular exchange, on rumor that it's having problem, or might be closing, or even there's issue with some of the products or the protocol you're using, it might be good sometimes to have a quick and fast way to trade your stuff or to transfer out to some other place. So if you have only like one exchange, by the time, as we've seen too, sometimes it takes a while to open new accounts in some places because of the KYC, or like know your customer, where they require you to provide some information, or just because they just require like a certain process to open an account. It might be too late to react and open other exchanges like somewhere else and transfer your stuff. So make sure you have options. That easy way to maybe send money, to withdraw money, and always test that, by the way. When you open a new exchange, always make sure so always make sure you can either send money or withdraw money easily. Make sure you can transfer in and out, because there was an issue before. Some people, they never tried that, and when they needed that, it didn't work so well, or they had some issues. So test the main features and make sure you have different places to like a way out. You have a backup plan, and so then if anything happens, you have a good way to react to any upcoming, because as we've seen, there could be issues that occurs again in the future. I think now it's kind of a bit stabilized, and I think those that are left probably will be stronger on the long term. But I think of course, there still will be some instability at some point. So be safe out there, and let us know if you need help with that or need any recommendation. And so thank you for showing up today. And like we say usually, we're working hard right now on some of the crypto tax report for people in the US, especially. The tax deadline is coming. And then, of course, it's Canada and UK probably. And then, so if you want to know about, we have a link to watch one of our replay of our workshop. And we're having live workshops every now and then as well. And if you want to learn more, get in touch with us. And so we'll see you next week for the crypto tips. So have a good day. Thank you, and happy Easter to everyone who celebrate Easter. Bye-bye.